Hello, this is just to explain how I'm keeping the shed safe at the moment. So, if you look back, I've only got only one strut there is plenty. The other one is also doing a little bit of work, but it can easily be removed. Then that is all that's needed to lift this roof up just a little bit. Without it, the roof would back to about there maybe. You see my hand to about there. So it's pushed it up a little bit, just clears a bit more space. And the main thing is that it's for strong winds. So with strong winds, then this roof might move up and down because quite a bit of play. And you can see how the very first sheet of corrugated iron, there's a little tear in it up. There's a tear in it up there. So what my plan to do is to straighten out this fence side of the roof as much as possible. So it's already straightened out a lot since my last video, and then put in lots of these struts, not because I need them now, but to help if there are strong winds, to help stop the roof from blowing back and forth. You can see it's quite a bit more. It's not going to move nearly so easily now. Even so, a strong wind might lift it up enough so these things move sideways. So my plan is to nail through the corrugated iron into the end of each one, something like that, to make sure that they're not going to move around in a strong wind. And at this end, to bed them down in the floor. And so this floor here, I was going to get things from the stream, but it's not necessary, because this is, and I've had to dig through this material before, and what this looks like, I'm pretty sure this is what it is it's just like the bed of the stream. You can see over, I don't know if you can see over there, the stream bed. Let's zoom in. There's a little bit of the stream bed there, lots and lots of stones piled on top of each other in a kind of shingle bank. And that essentially is what we've got here. And it's extremely difficult to dig through. I've had to, it took me a crowbar and several hours of work to get down 1/2 metre in a section up there to dig a test pit for the septic tank. So this is really pretty sturdy stuff. And then this area of the floor, I'm not sure what this is. It looks almost like it's a kind of very, very rough concrete, but it's not really concrete, because look at all those stones in it. I don't know if it's something that someone might have, that maybe they used to use way back when this shed was built, probably before, maybe even as old as I am, or whether it's some kind of rock of some sort. I just don't know enough about it, but you can see that there's a big slab of very hard stuff there, and so that's what this, and then what this is resting on is what the shed itself is currently resting on, the 3 supports holding up the A-frame at this end. There's that one, and this is not supports that I've put in. They are supports that this is what was already there. So that is holding it up when I first discovered the collapsed shed. And then this bit of wood, which I nailed on, I think, across as a horizontal beam strut, and that has got dug into the floor, and that is helping to hold it. And then there's that diagonal strut, which you can now see much more clearly. That is what is holding it in that way, and those 3 things are what is currently holding up the shed. And everything else is stopgaps, is things, this is all can be very easily removed, but yet very sturdy. So this one that Matthew and I put in, it's got a strong nail at both ends. At the end it's resting on that hard gravel. I've got a 12-inch tent spike that I've driven into the gravel beneath it, which is stopping it from moving this way. So this wooden thing wouldn't go in very far. That tent spike is supporting it. And so that is to hold the top of the A-frame up. It's not currently doing anything, there's hardly any tension in it at the moment, but if there was anything, if it was started to move slightly again, or anything happened to the other supports, this is an extra line of support for the A-frame to make sure it's not going to come down. Then this is the similar idea. If you look at this, and if you look at the base of that, you can see that it's quite weathered at the bottom, and it gets really quite narrow down at the bottom. It doesn't look like woodworm, it just looks like weathering. But just so I've got an extra support here that goes right down to the gravel, and it's bedded on the gravel. Again, it's not holding up any of the roof. This is just a fail-safe if that was to wear through, which I highly unlikely that anything's going to happen to the bottom of that. But it's just an extra fail-safe. People have been wondering about the clotheslines. It's not even under any tension, that clothesline. I tension it up a little bit from time to time. That clothesline is not supporting the shed. The aim of that clothesline is just that if there is a similar wind pushing it that way, then that would just give a little bit of extra support to keep hold of the roof down on top of everything else, to stop it from moving up a little bit further that way. That's all that clothesline is doing. It's not actually functioning at the moment, except to keep it tight. And now, if we look at the other end of this, and I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think this A-frame may have come down very slightly on this side as a result of me pushing up the wall on that side. I'll come to that in a minute. It may have already started to straighten out a little bit. I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll see if I do a bit more straightening. Now, if we go and look here, then this is the beam that I put in some time ago that this roof is attached to at that end, and it's on quite a strong support here. And I mean, it's not a permanent job like for years and years, but like for the next strong gales, I think that's going to hold up that roof. And then in the same way, right up at the top, you can see that is just the way it's put on those two things on either side of there. And then in between, you can see it's been lifted up above it there, and it would be possible to add in an extra strut if you thought it was necessary for strong gales. But basically, I'm reasonably happy with that bit of the end of the roof. It looks reasonably sturdily supported for the time being. Certainly not without any winds, but even with quite strong winds, I think that's going to be okay. And then, so then we have this side. Then it's the top of the roof. Then that does seem to be, so it just seems, it's the way the shed is constructed, and it's held together. It's got the ridge across the top, and there's just I have wondered whether to add an extra beam, a ridge across the top from there to there, from there, all the way along that to there. The only bit that I have that is long enough, though, is that bit that I've already used there along that. So I don't have long enough bits, so that would be a case of ordering a bit of timber to put up there if we thought it was necessary for an extra support, just to nail onto that end bit and nail onto the A-frame. I don't think it's necessary. It would be really good to get someone who's expert in this sort of thing to advise on all this, but as far as I can tell, I think this is going to be okay even in strong winds. I think the risk for very strong winds is really of this coming down. It's not of it going up, because the roof is so heavy, so very, very heavy. So then let's have a look, and you can see the floor. Another view of the floor and all the struts. Then these two struts here, I need to clear out the floor there. I need to bed in all of them. To bed them in I'm using the fork to dig little holes at the lower end, and then by removing some of the basically some of the stones from the kind of solid shingle bank that this is all seems to be at that level. And if you move a stone or two, you can create a little hole that the end will bed in quite securely, and then nail it at the other end. And that the aim there is to reduce the risk of it coming down in a strong gale. That's all it is. And nothing there is permanent. All these extra timbers that are all haphazard like that in different directions, they are just to stabilise it for now, and they're all easily removed. And as you see, there's only one timber there, but as you see in my other photographs, I put in 2, 3, 4 extra timbers there, just for extra safety and security for the strong winds. And then now we look at the wall, and again, this clothesline, it's not tight at all, and I can tighten it, and I have been tightening it. And then when you do that, you can see it's possible to lift up. I'm just lifting it up very slightly. You can just see if you can see it. Possible to lift up that shed wall using that. The shed wall is just far too heavy to move by hand. And by combination of lifting that up slightly and then pushing down on these, it's possible to straighten out the roof more. And that's the main function of that clothesline. It's to help straighten out the roof. And to help bring up the wall. And I don't know if it might be possible to lift the wall up vertical. If it is, then I would use extra. So at the moment it's not really possible to get in under there very easily, but I could put extra timbers under there to hold the wall, just like it's holding up the roof. So once the wall is very, very heavy at this moment because it's such a slant, if it moves up just a little bit further, I think it'll be a little bit more manageable. Then I might put in extra timbers on the inside to support the wall. And then finally there's the question of what happens if there's a wind in the other direction, blowing it that way. And as far as I can tell, the most I can do, I can put the diagonals against that roof there, from the ground, and I can use the same tensioning with clothesline in the other direction to stop it from going that way. So we don't have any strong gales forecast. We don't have any strong winds at all forecasted. We've had light winds. Nothing happens to it in light winds. I came down here in a light wind that was just strong enough for this roof to move slightly when it's further down, and nothing happening. There's no sign of anything that seemed even remotely problematical, and that's because this is really you can easily push this.